A couple of researchers have seriously taken up the study of cyclical catastrophes that occur on Earth every 676 years. It turns out that these reboots are hidden from society, and everything we know is not entirely true. Any event has a beginning and an end. Sometimes the next stage of history ends with the disappearance of entire civilizations. The last reset was associated with such a phenomenon as the Black Death in 1348, which claimed the lives of up to 80% of civilization. Researcher Francis Aidan Gasky studied eyewitness accounts for 15 years, which he described in his publication in 1908. Analyzing the history of those years, a very strange pattern emerges. Before the beginning of the end, mysterious events began to occur. First, there were sharp climatic changes. For example, the Baltic Sea froze over in 1323 to 1324. Secondly, there was a great famine in 1315 to 1317 and in 1346 to 1347. Thirdly, protracted wars began. Researchers Arthur Lawlock and Jegor Skworek believe that the latest destruction could be due to radiation. The Earth's magnetic field, which protects us from cosmic rays, is weakening much faster than previously thought. Thus, people began to experience radiation sickness. At least the symptoms described speak in favor of this particular one. The only question is, where did it come from in such ancient times? Some researchers associate its occurrence with the cyclic polarity of the Earth, in which there is a temporary disruption in the work of the electromagnetic field around our planet. As a result, cosmic radiation reaches the surface of the Earth, and people are not adapted to it. This theory could explain the phenomenon of the construction of underground cities by ancient civilizations, the places of which are found today all over the world. Underground fortifications are also being built today, which means that in the modern world, initiates have knowledge that they are not going to share with us. According to the authors of the civilizational reset hypothesis, the next cyclical catastrophe will occur in 2024. There is a passage in the Bible that tells about the end times. For as in the time before the flood they ate, drank, married and got in marriage until the day when Noah entered the ark, they missed the notice until the flood came and swallowed them all up. The key phrase they missed is deliberately highlighted, which suggests that signs were given, but people ignored them. It's the same now. People live in abundance, feed on media lies and ignore warning signs. The Mexican sunstone, or the stone of the five Urs, also shows the cyclicality of disasters every 676 years. The stone disc discovered in the 18th century in the Templo Mayor area of Mexico. It measures 358 centimeters in diameter, 98 centimeters in thickness and weighs 24 tons, according to Wikipedia. Someone made a huge effort to carve such a huge stone and then hide it from the Spanish conquest. But if it did allow to prepare for another reset date, that stone was strategically important for the Aztecs. Let's just think, if the Spaniards did not discover its importance and the Aztecs themselves could prepare, wouldn't it be a win by getting rid of the enemy even without a fight? Well, in one of the later broadcasts, Arthur Lawlock discovered an old history book, in which Richard Tamiki describes the Mexican Indian calendar, where the cycle lasts 52 years. It describes the 4 ages of mankind, each ending with a catastrophe and destruction of the world and humanity. In the new era, humanity is reborn. They are the era of jaguar, wind, rain, and water. An interesting fact is that 2 of the following Urs have a different length, 364 and 312. This is an interesting matter because 364 plus 312 equals 676. That is, one cycle of 676 years. This points to the possibility of a half cycle. They are not the same halves. 364 to 312 equals 52. This may mean that we face a catastrophe every 52 years and it happens every 13th. But sometimes more often, in an unequal half of the period. Unfortunately, a comet that is 52 years old would be so close to a comet that it would probably be well known to astronomers. Here is how this number of beasts is mentioned in the Bible. Rev 13:18. Here is needed wisdom. Let anyone who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is a human number, and his number, 666 inches. Arthur Lawlock notes that there is another version of the Apocalypse released simultaneously, in which this number is mentioned as 616. Could 616 and 666 be the way of coding 676? We already know that 666 and even more so 616, are two small numbers because those years are over. What is a beast? Certainly not the number 676, as this is mentioned as the number of men. Which means that this is how much was given to man to live in peace, and then the beast that will do the great reset of the world will come. Maybe not complete, but severely flawed. The number of the beast must be recalculated. The time of the man should be added to the year of the last catastrophe. Then the year of the next catastrophe, the return of the comet, the beast, will come out. And it will be 2024. It's good to be prepared earlier. There can always be a mistake in calculating the calendar itself. But what if you think about why underground bunkers are being built in the world? And on November 12, 2014, the European Space Agency announced that the Rosetta probe had successfully launched a descent vehicle to Comet 67P, Churyumov-Gerasimenko. And this was the first attempt to place a research device on the surface of a comet. Could Rosetta be related to Reboot? Isn't the pursuit of vaccinating people and the massive introduction of 5G technology, together with the emerging pandemics of unknown viruses, a warning? A signal for the next reboot of civilization?